Some ghosts just want to be seen. Others demand justice. The year was 1897, Greenbrier County, West Virginia, a place where the mountains whisper and secrets hide in the fog. Elva Zona Hester, a 23-year-old woman newly married to a blacksmith named Edward Shue, was found dead in her home. It was her husband, Trout Shue, who discovered the body. He claimed he returned home to find her crumpled at the foot of the stairs, cold, stiff, and lifeless. The doctor was called, but when he arrived, things were strange. Dr. George Knapp was only allowed a brief look. Shue had already washed and dressed her in a high-necked Victorian gown with a stiff collar, unusual for a sudden death. As the doctor leaned in to examine her, Shue wept and wailed and never let the doctor get a close look at her neck. Under pressure, and thinking the husband was just deeply grieving, Dr. Knapp reluctantly signed the death certificate, listing the cause as everlasting faint. Later, he changed it to childbirth, but no autopsy was performed. Zona's death was written off, and she was buried, or so it seemed. Mary Jane Hester, Zona's mother, never believed the story. She'd had a bad feeling about Edward Shue from the moment they met. Something in her bones told her this wasn't a man to trust. And when her daughter died suddenly, only months into the marriage, she knew something wasn't right. She prayed. She begged for answers. And then, Zona came to her. For 4 nights, Zona's ghost appeared at the foot of her mother's bed. Not just a fleeting vision, she spoke. Zona told her mother that Shue was cruel, controlling, and that he had strangled her in a fit of rage. She described how his hands closed around her neck until it snapped. She even turned, showing the injury, her head lolling unnaturally to one side. When Mary Jane awoke, she wasn't terrified. She was furious. If the living wouldn't seek justice, then the dead would. Mary Jane's accusations made their way to the local prosecutor, John Alfred Preston. At first, he dismissed it as a grieving woman's fantasy, but after talking with locals, hearing stories of Shue's odd behavior, and noting the suspicious burial, he made a bold move. He ordered Zona's body to be exhumed. 3 doctors conducted a full autopsy in secret, fearing townspeople would object, and what they found changed everything. Zona's neck was broken, her windpipe crushed, fingers had left bruises on her throat. She didn't fall, she didn't faint, she had been murdered. Edward Shue was arrested and put on trial for the murder of his wife, and that's where things took a turn. The defense made a mistake. They called Mary Jane Hester to the stand, hoping to paint her as a delusional, grieving mother. What they didn't expect was her poise, her clarity, her conviction. She told the court, under oath, that her daughter's ghost had appeared to her, describing how she died and naming her killer. The jury sat stunned. While the judge instructed them to disregard the ghost story as evidence, it was already too late. Between Shue's erratic behavior, his violent past, including 2 previous wives, one of whom mysteriously died, and now a dead woman's testimony from beyond the grave, the jury found him guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison, narrowly escaping the gallows thanks only to the judge's order. Shue died 3 years later, behind bars. To this day, the Greenbrier Ghost remains the only known case in U.S. history where a ghost testimony helped convict a murderer. Zona was buried in a quiet plot in West Virginia. Her grave bears a simple headstone, but a historical marker now stands nearby, telling the world the story of the ghost who refused to stay silent. Mary Jane never saw Zona's ghost again after the trial. Justice had been served. The dead could rest. Not all ghost stories are born from nightmares. Some are whispers from the beyond, demanding to be heard. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone brave enough to hear it. Also leave a comment if you know any interesting stories that you want me to cover. And remember, the past is never truly gone. It's always waiting to be discovered.